Yosemite National Park is in the Sierra Mountains, almost at an inaccessible location. There's been a recent landslide and there's been work to recover the road, so an alternate route to get to Yosemite is through an old rail access that's across the river. And you could see there's quite an undertaking to gain access to the Yosemite Valley. This is almost an illustrative point of this location. It's a fortress that's inaccessible in ancient times, and it was covered by an ice age approximately 10,000 years ago. But as we'll see with looking at the features of this location, there may be structures here that predate the ice age, and this might be still a location with many surprises in store for investigators willing to take the opportunity to look.
I mean, I tell people you don't really have to go all the way to the top. You know, you can go about an hour up, and you'll about 45 minutes up you get to what's called Columbia Rock. Then another 20 minutes past that you get to your first view of the falls, your first look at them. Anything like that on Friday. So, you know, the other falls like Vernal and Nevada, Yosemite Falls, I mean, they're going to be looking pretty good. And we'll see Yosemite Falls. My favorite waterfall is actually to the left. It's a little.
These famous falls look like they have been prepared by chiseling and excavating of the surrounding rocks when you really look at them. The falls are visible throughout the park and facilities there. It's a magnificent sight, and it couldn't be more ideal as a visiting place. There are many wildlife creatures here, including bear. The wildlife here are the same wildlife that are found throughout the Sierra Nevada mountain range, because they have access to the park through their surrounding mountain ranges. It is only the difficulty that humans have of getting to the location that makes it such an isolated area. But it's part of a natural surrounding of an alpine biome that stretches for the most of the California state. And it's magnificent. It's splendid. There are trees here in their natural states that have been here for thousands and millions of years. So there are birds here. If you're into birding, or if you know anything about birding, as a naturalist, you have to take a bunch of other classes and get a lot of experience before you even get to the birds and species of birds. But You can find species of birds here that are unavailable in other locations. So Yosemite is popular with people who catalog and watch these birds. So I'm staying in housekeeping, which is a tent cabin with solid sides. So here we have a bluebird species. Some of the birders would know. So I'm going to get food started after stirring my food in a bear box and get things going. So I've broken up the kindling. I've used my backpacker stove here. I'm going to use it in the fire ring. So together with this, I'll see if I can get a fire going and get some meals cooked and see what I can get it going. So for the short time I'm here, you could see that it takes a few accoutrements and supplies to be up in this remote location. It takes about a package of that wood for each day duration. So here we have the place setting for someone such as myself using single backpack theory to come into this remote location and have all my supplies in basically one single pack. This bridge is made with blocks of granite. Now, they were inspired by things they found here at the park in the early 1900s. I'll get back to it in a moment. So this is the shot of Half Dome. It looks like a parabola. And what happens if it's a Stargate? It's crystal structure. Maybe it could be excited with a frequency, or maybe it's like an Arecibo dish that could contact another civilization in another date and time. but it's a perfect parabola. I think that nature couldn't do some of that by an ice age, and it predates the ice age. And same with those falls. It's a placer mine sluice box made for getting out gold from the Sierra. And if you go up there, you could see how artificial it looks. So I only have a few hours of fire left. So it's going to be survival to try to get a fire started. And before 10 p.m. get everything cooked and put out the fire. Some elements of my meal are just dry soup you could find in the ethnic food aisle, and some are backpackers' food. Starting to rain. So conventional wisdom is that a glacier came in and carved out Yosemite Valley, and that's basically the mainstream theory of it. It's been that way since John Muir convinced the geology professor of the University of California in the early 1900s that it was done by a glacier instead of a natural disaster. The theory at the time was that a natural disaster had shaped Yosemite Valley, and they convinced the first president of the University of California that it was glaciers. So it's really not that cut and dry that it was done by glaciers. And you look at this and you're saying to yourself, really? A glacier did this? Where are the missing parts of the rocks? Carried away by the river? So that's what you ask yourself when you're here. I don't think it's absolutely certain that glaciers did this, but maybe. So there's Yosemite Falls. You might say to yourself, well, that looks like a lot of water. But actually, if you go above a certain point, hiking up in the back up there, there's no water. And if you're at a point where there's no fish either, people a lot of times say they're going to go backpacking and pack their fishing poles, and they're going to have these elaborate set of flies. I've seen people whip out big old boxes of all kinds of different hand-tied flies. Well, fish evolved in the ocean. They didn't get up here. Okay, so there's no fish that are up in like the alpine area or water. So you have to bring some water for every hour of hiking you're up here, or you'll run out of water. If you notice this location, it is as remote as the Andes Mountains and the Sacred Valley. And in Peru, there was a remote location that looked like a fortress high in the mountains as well, with some interesting features. So I'm going to go over some of the gear. The jackets are North Face, and I wear them in different layers. Some for under layers, some for the cold, dry environments. Maybe you're inside the tent and you want a down jacket, and then other jackets go on top of either of these two while it is raining to keep you dry. And this is the way of the mountain man. So you would take this axe, and you're going to build a fire underneath, and this is the backpacker stove. You put the wood chips in there, and you're off to go, and let your freeze-dried food there. These are South American ruins, and you see the megalithic structure that the builders were using. This is the block bridge in Yosemite that is inspired by earlier structures found in Yosemite Valley of granite.